Hello everyone, my name is Fonian and welcome back to another episode of Jade. Unlike previous route videos that I did for Jade, this time around I will try to dub the dialogue inside this game. As you may know, that Jade doesn't exactly have a voice actor just yet, so one of the comments that I got today suggested that I try to dub the characters, so I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a try. Now, I do take into account all of your feedbacks though, because we've been doing like 100+ episodes of Jade in the last several months without any issues. So if you feel like if my voice dialogue kind of pulls you out of the enjoyment of this series, then let me know in the comment section below. But if you want to hear me voice acting some of the characters more, then also let me know in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Wonder what exactly that's all about. You think she wouldn't need my help with anything concerning dust, especially considering how taken she seems to be with Professor Peach. Well, I guess I'm about to know anyway. Hey Wise.
Han, so glad you could come.
I promised, didn't I? Although, I'm still not sure why you wanted me to come. It's not exactly that I wanted or needed you to. I just thought it'll be a good idea. A good idea? In what sense? Well, not in the sense of getting extra credit or anything, sadly, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity for you to start networking. A professor's recommendation can go a long way towards any future goals you may want to have towards specialization once you graduate. And since the third and the fourth year find students to be much more mobile, there's really only the first two to connect. Since you joined halfway through the first year, and taking into account of your situation, I hope I'm not overstepping? Oh, I see. That's actually a really nice thought, Wise. Thank you. Thank goodness. You're welcome. Although, that explains the why, still doesn't tell me what exactly we'll be doing. Well, that depends on Professor Peach, really. It's not the first time I help her with lessons prep work, but the specifics change frequently. So, the wisest course of action would be to just go in and ask her. Good afternoon, Professor. Hello, Miss Nee, and oh, Mr. DeCambegas. Didn't think I'd have two helpers today instead of one. Hope there's enough tasks to go around, Professor. I've actually been tutoring Han in dust to help him make up for what he's missing. Oh my, you mean you help him recuperate the entirety of the first semester's curriculum? And then some. Please do remember that I had no knowledge of dust whatsoever until I came to Beacon. Vishni, I know you had some academic skills, but I didn't realize you also had instincts for teaching. Color me impressed. Oh, it was nothing really. I just happen to have a lot of notes. Music for teachers' ears. Anyway, there's more than enough work for the two of you. What do you need us to do, Professor? Well, for starters, let's measure the doses for next week's lesson. Scales are in the cabinet. Thank you! That's the last one, Professor! Very good. Thank you so much, students. You've been a great help. That's a lot of material. Do you usually do all of that on your own, Professor? I used to, but then Mishni got all worried because I was still doing so during the 6th month of pregnancy, so now I do it with her help. Well, to be fair, Miss Rose was also worried, but she had no idea of how to act around me. It was adorable. And I still don't understand what possessed you to keep going for so long. I have it on good authority you could have asked for leave since month 5. We were in the middle of a very important piece of curriculum, Miss Nee. Breaking the flow of learning in half between two professors would have been detrimental, to say the least. Still think it was unnecessary effort on your part, Professor. Well, not everyone is as good as learner as you and Mr. Kabigas, Mishni. Keep that in mind. If being a teacher was as easy as accumulating knowledge and spouting it out from behind their desk, anyone could do it. Considering circumstances like timing and the different aptitude of each student is a vital part of the job, as you learn if you ever decide to follow this path. I didn't mean to assume... I know, Mishni, but don't forget that it's children who are supposed to rely on adults, not the opposite. Now, let's clean up here. Think I've kept you long enough? She is the first person I've ever heard talk like this. Adults and children? I've never really thought of things in that way. I mean, no matter from what angle you look at it, be it actual age, physical age, life experience, I'm pretty much a kid, or at the very least, not an adult. Thank you, ma'am. And yet, what Professor Peach said doesn't ring true for some reason. I mean, people get into combat academies like Beacon at age 17, right? A 4-year curriculum. That means you're graduating at 21 years old. After that, you've considered a full-fledged hunter. That's still young, and yet that's when you're supposed to be able to go without supervision against Grimm. If they expect people that young and with so little actual experience to fight Grimm, how is that? Lian, for your thoughts, Mr. DeCabigas? If it's chopping, that must be one hell of a grocery list, but we do have things known as scrolls to take notes nowadays. Failing that, pen and paper. Oh no, it's not shopping, and I do have a scroll with a list, yes. I was just thinking about... well, something you said actually. Oh? Was there something you didn't understand from the latest lesson? No, it was about what you said about children having to rely on adults. I see. What about it? Well, it doesn't really seem feasible, considering how the hunting profession seems to work. You're not wrong. Now that I think about it, it must be quite jarring for you since you didn't even really choose to attend Beacon. I didn't really have a choice, no, I just fell into it, still trying to get adjusted to everything, and I guess it's slowly dawning on me that because of that, I am now set on a particular path for life, am I not? Pretty much. On one hand, you'll never have to worry about financial security. On the other, most students only understand what being a hunter will ask of them when it's far too late. Was it the same for you? No, it was for someone else though. What I'm trying to say is that the hunter profession and the way the schools are run ask young people to make life-damning decisions when they're way too young to be able to distinguish between the mainstream sheen of profession and what the reality of it is. Why? Because the world needs hunters. Hunters need to be trained from a young age to be effective. And if you went and asked a young kid if they wanted to train for life to fight nightmarish monsters with low chance of living past 30, they'd of course say hell no. Yeah, starting to regret my career choice. You're taking it in stride though. Well, either I can do something about it or I can't. So... And anyway, you obviously care about this, have for a long time, and you're not crushed by despair. So, is there a way out? There have been some steps made in the right direction, just not recently. For example, the 2 years of supervised field experience were just 6 months before. That changed only one generation ago. But that's not enough. The core problem here is not that hunters aren't given enough experience in killing Grimm. The problem is the paradigm of bringing up people for a war of attrition only. You've obviously given this a lot of thought, Professor. What do you think should be done? Specializations, of course. But don't they already do that? Well, yes, but actually no. If you're interested in this subject, yes, I need an assistant for something anyway. An assistant? Yep, I think you'll be very interested in it. But you've got to promise me not to tell anyone. I see. Sure. Great. I'll contact you and tell you when and where. Thank you so much, Mr. DeCavegas. Now I should get back to my own shopping. Bye! Why do I get a feeling I just walked into a minefield? This secrecy. What exactly are we going to do here? And... that sound? Good evening, Mr. DeCavegas. Glad you could make it. Now, the experiment can really start. Professor, that equipment... where? Where did it even come from? I've never seen it used in class. Oh, from my personal storage. It's not something you use for a skill curriculum experiment. Does the faculty know? Wait, how did you even get this here? I have my ways. Now, let me show you how to operate the containment field. Containment field? Professor? So, I'm not going to show you all the ins and outs, just the important stuff. See the rectangle on the screen here? If it goes past this point and turns yellow, tell me. I would usually go for red, but considering this is your first time, I wouldn't want to risk it. If it does though, push this big red button here. Professor, seriously? What kind of experiment are we going to perform here? Nothing too nefarious, but a containment field is still standard safety procedure. Problem is, it needs someone on it at all times checking the levels of strain on the field. My semblance sadly doesn't allow me to split in two. That'd make things like this so much easier. Is it dangerous? Oh, no worries. The controls are far enough for what I'm trying to do, even in case of total containment failure. And what about you? Don't you worry about me. I'll be okay. Trust me. But I know what I'm doing. I'm taking a risk, but it's calculated, and I won't ever be in real danger. At most, I'll get some singed hair, I swear. Fine. But can you at least explain to me what you're doing? Of course. So, I'm sure you remember that there are a finite number of base dust types? Oh, of course. 4, right? Fire, earth, ice, and wind. Bravo! Now, these 4 types can be combined between themselves to form new types. Then, those new types can also be mixed with others to form extra new ones, and so on. Now, while that happens in nature all the time, the process is random. The type, the size, the potency of the crystals you find in nature is anyone's guess. There was a need to find a way to reproduce the process in a controlled environment. To standardize the production of certain type of dust, experiments try and find new ones. That's how the field of dust science was born. I see. But how does that tie into what we were talking about the last time? Dust science is a specialization for hunters, but it's only available in Atlas Academy. Similar to how aurology is only a specialization here in Vale, my point is that specializations are not just underfunded and very academy specific, but they're also seen as something hunters should go into only past their prime or if they get seriously injured. As a fallback, instead of a goal, exception made for combat-oriented specialization. An attitude that just keeps getting passed on generation to generation that sees direct engagement and resistance the one and only strategy worth of attention when it comes to the Grim. And leaves people who like to dedicate themselves to something different in the field strapped for choices and facilities. Indeed. Now, this specific experiment will be about trying to combine two types of dust with a typical level of purity. Eyes on the field counter, please. It's going to be speed dust and fire dust. Speed dust is pretty much only used in projectile weapons nowadays. They tried applying it to fabric, but like all attempts of dust textile enchantment, it gave more problems than it benefits. Okay, so why are you... Okay, it seems to be at 22%. It's green anyway. My theory is that adding speed dust to fire dust, the fire crystal will be able to obtain a faster deflagration before dissipating, aka it's going to cover a larger area with the same boom potency. Interesting. And what application? Okay, nothing bad. Still at around 40%, but that was a sharp movement. One that I can think of is dust mines. The one that they use right now has insufficient areas of effect, and I'd say are a waste of materials for their bang. Mines? Professor, are you sure this is safe? Absolutely! As I said, this is a typical purity. A fire crystal of this quality is going to be able to produce an explosion of maximum 5% their actual potency. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Yep, I mean, provided that the added velocity doesn't also affect the strength. Wait, what if it... Oh my god, Professor Peach! Well, that wasn't completely unexpected. Still, what a difference! Are you alright? Holy shit, that was a big explosion! I'm fine, Mr. DeCabegas. My aura cover held. The field, please? Oh, sure. It's 45%? Good then. Yeah, it should be enough. Enough? Enough for what? Well, the result could have been because of a freak accident, maybe some contamination in the crystal, so... Take two! Stop! My heart. I don't know if my heart can take any more of this. Now I understand why you didn't ask Wise for help with this. Indeed, Mishni is adorable and very eager to learn, but a bit too conservative for these kinds of things. She is not the only one. If you need to do this kind of things when no one is... Oh my god, Professor Goodwitch, the curfew! If she heard the explosions? Oh, don't you worry about Glinda. I got an arrangement with her. An arrangement? What kind of arrangement? Adult stuff. Now, I kept you long enough, Mr. DeCabegas. Thank you oh so much for your help. The experiment was a success. Go to sleep satisfied in the knowledge that you've helped advance dust science tonight. I'll contact you again when it's time for next experiment. Good night, Professor Peach. Sleep, sure. I'm going to have nightmares with dust explosions. Violet Peach has brought you on the path of science!